Welcome to Lesson 7.1 of the Grant Architect course. In this lesson, we explore evaluation fundamentals, establishing the foundation for understanding how to assess program effectiveness in grant-funded projects. Evaluation is not merely a compliance requirement, but a strategic tool that strengthens programs and demonstrates value to funders. Many grant writers treat evaluation as an afterthought, adding generic language about surveys and data collection. This approach misses the opportunity evaluation provides to improve programs and build evidence for future funding. Effective evaluation is integrated into program design from the beginning, not bolted on at the end. By the end of this lesson, you will understand the core concepts of program evaluation, why funders prioritize evaluation, and how evaluation connects to other proposal components. This foundation prepares you for deeper exploration of specific evaluation approaches in subsequent lessons. Why evaluation matters extends beyond satisfying funder requirements to serving essential functions for your organization and the broader field. Accountability demonstrates responsible stewardship of resources. Funders invest in your program expecting results. Evaluation provides evidence that their investment produced intended outcomes or honest information about what actually happened. This accountability builds trust and positions you well for future funding. Learning and improvement generate knowledge about what works, what does not, and why. Without evaluation, programs operate on assumptions. With evaluation, programs operate on evidence. This learning enables continuous improvement throughout the grant period and informs future program design. Field building contributes to broader knowledge. When you evaluate rigorously and share findings, you contribute to understanding of effective practices. Your work helps others serve their communities more effectively. This contribution to the field enhances your reputation and demonstrates thought leadership. Sustainability arguments become compelling when supported by evaluation evidence. Programs that can demonstrate results have stronger cases for continued funding from current funders and for attracting new funders. Understanding evaluation purposes and approaches helps you select methods appropriate to your questions. Developmental evaluation supports innovation in complex or uncertain environments through real-time feedback. Empowerment evaluation builds stakeholder capacity to conduct their own evaluations. Utilization-focused evaluation prioritizes use from the start by involving intended users in design decisions. Each approach has strengths suited to different contexts and purposes. Evaluation serves two distinct but related purposes. Accountability focus asks whether you did what you said and whether it worked. This is summative and judgmental. Funders need to justify their investment. Learning focus asks why it worked or not and what can improve. This is formative and developmental. Organizations need to get better. Both are required because most evaluations serve both purposes. Purely judgmental evaluation misses learning opportunities. Purely developmental evaluation lacks accountability. Balance varies by funder and project stage. Early stage projects may emphasize learning. Mature programs may emphasize accountability. Read funder expectations carefully. Process evaluation examines implementation quality and fidelity in substantial detail. It answers the question of whether the program was delivered as intended and what contextual factors influenced delivery. Key process evaluation questions include whether all program components were implemented, whether implementation followed the planned timeline, whether staff delivered services as designed, and whether participants received the intended dosage. Process evaluation methods typically include observation protocols, implementation checklists, attendance records, and staff interviews. Documentation should occur throughout implementation rather than retrospectively. Process findings help interpret outcome results by revealing whether observed effects or lack thereof relate to program design or implementation quality. Strong process evaluation distinguishes between implementation failure and theory failure. If outcomes are poor but implementation was faithful, the program theory may need revision. If implementation was weak, the program deserves another test with better fidelity before drawing conclusions about effectiveness. Summative evaluation occurs at program conclusion and focuses on overall effectiveness and impact. It answers whether the program worked and achieved its intended outcomes. Summative evaluations provide the evidence base for continuation, expansion, or termination decisions. Key summative questions include whether outcomes improved compared to baseline or comparison conditions, whether improvements are attributable to the program rather than other factors, whether benefits justify costs, and whether the program should continue as is or with modifications. Summative design should maximize internal validity through comparison groups, control of confounding variables, and rigorous measurement. Timing matters significantly for summative evaluation. Too early, and effects may not have emerged. Too late, and attribution becomes difficult as many factors intervene. Match evaluation timing to realistic timeframes for expected outcomes. Short-term outcomes may be measurable during the project, while longer-term outcomes require follow-up beyond the funding period. Logic model connection makes evaluation meaningful by linking measurement to program theory. Your logic model identifies what you expect to accomplish and how. Your evaluation plan operationalizes the logic model by specifying how you will know whether expected results occurred. Outputs in your logic model become process measures in your evaluation. How many participants served, how many sessions delivered, what products completed. These output measures track implementation fidelity and create accountability for activities proposed. Short-term outcomes become near-term evaluation targets. Knowledge gains, attitude changes, and skill development can be assessed during or shortly after program participation. These measures provide early evidence of program effects. Intermediate and long-term outcomes require longer-term follow-up, but represent the ultimate test of program effectiveness. Behavior changes, condition improvements, and sustained benefits demonstrate lasting impact. Your evaluation should include strategies for assessing these longer-term outcomes even if full results will not be available during the grant period. The pathway from activities to outcomes articulated in your logic model should be visible in your evaluation plan. Reviewers should see clear connections between what you propose to measure and the theory of change underlying your program. Evaluation planning should begin early in project development, ideally during proposal writing. Early planning ensures evaluation considerations shape program design rather than being afterthoughts. Build evaluation costs into budgets from the start. Identify data collection points before implementation begins so baseline data can be gathered. Engage stakeholders in planning to increase buy-in and relevance. Document planning decisions and their rationale for future reference. Evaluation questions drive all subsequent design decisions and must be formulated with precision and care. Good evaluation questions share several characteristics that distinguish them from poor ones. They are specific enough to be answerable with available data and methods. They are feasible given timeline, budget, and access constraints. They align with stakeholder information needs and decision-making contexts. They can be operationalized with measurable indicators. Avoid questions that are too broad to answer definitively or too narrow to provide useful information. The question development process should involve key stakeholders to ensure relevance and buy-in. Prioritize questions when resources are limited since not everything can be evaluated equally well. Primary questions deserve more rigorous methods, while secondary questions may use simpler approaches. Document the rationale for question selection and prioritization in your evaluation plan. Key evaluation concepts affect quality and credibility. Validity asks whether evaluation measures what it claims to measure. If you claim to measure job readiness but actually measure test-taking ability, validity is compromised. Reliability asks whether results would be consistent if repeated. Would different evaluators reach the same conclusions? Would the same participants score similarly on repeated measurement? Attribution asks whether changes can be attributed to the program. Did the program cause the change or would it have happened anyway? This is often the hardest question. Generalizability asks whether findings apply beyond this specific case. Can results be applied to other settings, populations, or times? Stakeholder involvement in evaluation increases relevance and use of findings. Engage stakeholders in defining evaluation questions to ensure the evaluation addresses what they need to know. Involve them in interpreting findings to benefit from their contextual knowledge and increase ownership of conclusions. Participatory approaches range from consultation to full partnership in all evaluation decisions. balance stakeholder involvement against evaluation independence and methodological rigor. Formative evaluation supports ongoing improvement during program implementation. Unlike summative evaluation, which judges overall merit, formative evaluation provides feedback for refinement. Key formative questions include what is working well and should be maintained, what is not working and needs modification, how participants are responding to program components, and what implementation challenges require attention. Formative evaluation methods emphasize rapid feedback over methodological rigor. Quick turnaround matters more than perfect precision, since information must arrive in time to guide adjustments. Data collection should be lightweight enough to sustain throughout implementation without overburdening staff. Formative findings feed directly into program management decisions. Regular reporting cycles ensure findings reach implementers while still actionable. Create structures for discussing formative findings and deciding on responses. Document modifications made in response to formative evaluation to track the program's evolution over time. Evaluation ethics protect participants and ensure integrity. Informed consent means participants understand data collection. They know what data is collected, how it will be used, and can decline to participate. Consent is fundamental. Confidentiality protects participant information. Data should be secured. Individuals should not be identifiable in reports without consent. Privacy matters. Do no harm means evaluation should not hurt participants. Questions should not cause distress. Participation should not create risk. Consider participant burden. IRB review may be required for human subjects research. If your evaluation qualifies as research, institutional review board approval may be needed. Know the requirements. Internal evaluators bring organizational knowledge and ongoing availability, but may face objectivity concerns. External evaluators bring independence and specialized expertise, but may lack contextual understanding. Hybrid approaches using both internal and external evaluators can leverage strengths of each. Match evaluator selection to evaluation purpose and stakeholder expectations about credibility. Evaluation capacity building ensures organizations can sustain evaluation practice beyond any single funded project. Building internal capacity involves developing staff skills, establishing systems and processes, and creating an organizational culture that values evidence. Staff development includes training in evaluation methods, data collection, analysis, and interpretation. Not everyone needs advanced methodological skills, but key staff should understand evaluation fundamentals. Systems development includes data management infrastructure, reporting templates, and quality assurance procedures. These systems reduce the burden of evaluation and increase consistency across projects. Cultural development involves leadership modeling evaluation use, celebrating learning from both successes and failures, and integrating evaluation findings into decision-making processes. Evaluation and continuous improvement connect assessment to action throughout project implementation. Evaluation should not be something that happens at the end to determine whether you succeeded. Instead, evaluation should generate ongoing information that enables you to improve while the project is underway. Continuous improvement cycles use evaluation data to identify problems, develop solutions, test changes, and assess results. This iterative approach treats the grant period as a learning opportunity where you systematically improve your program. Formative evaluation explicitly supports continuous improvement by providing real-time feedback on implementation. Rapid cycle evaluation enables quick testing of modifications. When formative data suggests problems, you can adjust and measure the effects of adjustments. Quality improvement frameworks such as plan, do, study, act cycles provide structured approaches to using evaluation for improvement. These frameworks are increasingly expected by funders who recognize that programs rarely work perfectly from the start. Building continuous improvement into your evaluation plan demonstrates sophisticated understanding of program implementation and commitment to maximizing effectiveness. Describe not just what you will measure, but how you will use evaluation findings to strengthen your program throughout the grant period. Evaluation budgets typically range from 5 to 15% of program budgets depending on evaluation scope and rigor required. Larger programs may need smaller percentages, while smaller programs may need larger percentages to achieve minimum evaluation quality. Budget for personnel, data collection, incentives, analysis, and reporting. Build contingency for unexpected costs. Underfunded evaluations compromise quality and usefulness. Evaluation ethics extend beyond IRB compliance to encompass broader responsibilities to stakeholders in society. Informed consent requires that participants understand what evaluation involves and freely choose to participate. Consent processes should be understandable, not legalistic documents that obscure rather than inform. Confidentiality protections must match the sensitivity of information collected. Consider how data will be stored, who will have access, and how findings will be reported without identifying individuals. Risk minimization requires anticipating potential harms from evaluation activities and taking steps to prevent them. Harms might include burden on participants or staff, unintended disclosure of sensitive information, or negative consequences from findings. Benefit maximization means designing evaluations to actually produce useful information rather than going through evaluation motions without real intent to learn or improve. Here is a practical exercise to apply what you have learned. Step 1. List 3 questions your evaluation should answer. For a current or potential project, what do you need to know? Be specific about the questions. Step 2. Identify the purpose of each question as accountability or learning. Does each question serve judgment, improvement, or both? Understanding purpose guides design. Step 3. Consider what data would answer each question. What information would tell you the answer? Where would that data come from? Step 4. Draft an evaluation timeline for a 1-year project. When would you collect data? When would you analyze? When would you report? Let us summarize the key points from this lesson on evaluation fundamentals. Evaluation serves multiple purposes beyond compliance, including accountability to funders, learning and improvement, field building, and sustainability support. Understanding these purposes helps you design evaluation that creates value. Core evaluation concepts include distinguishing between process and outcome evaluation, understanding formative and summative purposes, and recognizing different evaluation questions. These foundational concepts prepare you for more detailed exploration in subsequent lessons. Funder perspectives vary but share common elements. All funders want confidence that investments will produce results. Research specific funder expectations and align your approach accordingly while maintaining methodological integrity. Logic model connection ensures evaluation measures what matters. Your evaluation should operationalize your theory of change by measuring outputs, short-term outcomes, and longer-term outcomes specified in your logic model. Continuous improvement uses evaluation data throughout implementation rather than only at the end. Building improvement cycles into your evaluation plan demonstrates sophistication and commitment to effectiveness. In our next lesson, we will explore formative evaluation in depth, examining how to assess implementation quality and make real-time improvements.